Welcome to the 2017-18 Athlete of the Year Selection Show. I'm Luke Modrovsky.
And I'm Ben Mandell. And Luke, what an exciting week it is. Athlete of the Year tournament coming up.
That's right, Ben. Starting tomorrow night, Thursday, April 5th, a bracket of 34 athletes will be narrowed down little by little until only 2 remain.
The 17-athlete tournament on each will feature all the previous Athlete of the Weeks in a seeded bracket format similar to the NCAA tournament.
The tournament will be broken down into the same 2 categories as the typical Athlete of the Week segments featured in every edition of the Beacon. 17 males and 17 females will participate in separate brackets, crowning 1 male and 1 female champion. Our first reveal here, starting with the number 16 seed on the men's side, it's Alvaro Fernandez Maldonado. I've been working on that one all week, Ben. Alvaro, what an awesome kid, and it's awesome to see him into this tournament here. Over to the number 17 seed from men's golf is Alex Anderson. So it'll be interesting to see how those 2 fare out. And on the female side, Kelsey Ustad at 16 and Nicole Farrell for women's basketball also at 17. So Ben, talking about this quick. First to the men's side, Fernandez Maldonado and Alex Anderson. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, who's your pick first to start?
I think Fernandez Maldonado is going to take it. Honestly, I think he had a pretty good week when he was selected. I do believe that he will have a better showing through the Twitter poll, which is, how everyone is going to be selected throughout this tournament.
And seeded by Luke Modrovsky, Ben Mandell, Alex Kielar, and Kirsten Peters.
The competition will be conducted using Twitter polls via the Wilkes Beacon Twitter handle. The winner of each poll will advance to the next round. You can vote by logging into your Twitter account.
For coverage of the tournament, you can check out the following Twitter accounts. What's going on there? So, Luke Modrovsky, Ben Mandell, Alex Kielar, and Kirsten Peters, the people that we just mentioned, that's going to be where everything's going to come from.
Yeah, we plan on live tweeting the tournament, the results of each poll, and the polls as they're happening, who's winning, and I think I might throw in some of my picks as well as we're going along.
So Ben really cranking it down there for the bracket selection show. We'll just have to see how it all shakes out there. So over to our first round now. So all the staff will be keeping you up to date. It's going to look awesome. Okay, so looking at how it's all going to work out, Ben, what's going to happen to our final contestants, our champions?
Lastly, the champion of both categories will be featured in a full-page spread in the final edition of the Beacon on April 16th. Luke, it's time to get down to business. Here we go.
All right, down to the regular bracket now. So we already went over the preliminary side. Definitely going to get things off to a good start. Moving over to the first round, so our second bracket slide here. First seed, Marcus Robinson, men's basketball, gotta love him. Awesome kid. He'll take on Fernandez Maldonado or Alex Anderson, whoever wins there. Our 9 and 8 seeds, men's basketball, Tommy Bowen, and baseball's Michael Patrizio. And that's going to be fun to watch there. Another exciting matchup, the 12-5, always a big hot topic in the tournament time. Men's tennis, Chris Materitz, and men's basketball, Mason Gross.
Definitely look out for Mason Gross. He could be a sleeper in this one.
Down to the bottom of the top half of the bracket now, it's men's soccer's Camry Huff taking on wrestling's Matt Grossman. So interesting here to see how all this is going to shake out. It's kind of the first time, obviously, the first Wilkes Athlete of the Year segment happening for not only the Wilkes Beacon, but across all 3 medias as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out here.
Yeah, and, I'm excited for the student body, just talking about, the tournament coming up. Not really anyone knows who's seated where because this is the selection show.
Exactly.
They're all excited to see who's going to be where, and honestly, they're excited to have a say in who's going to win this thing.
So pretty much everybody already knew who was in, and now it's just a matter of figuring out where everybody's going to be seated. So now let's get over to the second half of the men's bracket as we take a look as number 3 seed, Rob Pecorelli. So this is the bottom half of the bracket here. Pecorelli's going to take on men's soccer's Lucas Snedeker. Snedeker had a nice showing there in the fall semester, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of votes he can bring in. Over to men's swimming now, Jared Byron. Jared had an excellent showing at the Middle Atlantic Conference Championships here in the beginning of the year. He'll take on football's Luke Wood. Number 7 seed John Wink taking on baseball's Matt Reiner.
Yeah, and John Wink, that's an exciting one. He got in, he squeaked in past John Luna. That was a tight one in the final Athlete of the Week poll.
Down to the bottom 2, Franco Balbuena, a fall selection for men's cross country, taking on wrestling's Jake DeMarsico. So the MAC champion there, very exciting to see him in it as well. So it's going to be awesome just to watch how all of that one shakes out. Now let's get over to the second half of the women's bracket. So we'll take a look at the top half here of the women's side. Our number 1 seed, Marissa Surtee, an absolute animal on the field hockey field.
Yeah, I don't think there was any argument as to who the top seed in this bracket was going to be. Marissa Surtee, she was unanimous across the board.
Had to be. So she'll take on either Kelsey Ustad or Nicole Farrell from women's basketball. Diana Connor, women's soccer, going to take on Gianna Roberts. That is actually it might not look close on paper. Some people might think Diana Connor might have more of might be favorited, but Gianna Roberts, don't sleep on her.
Yeah, Gianna Roberts got a strong showing in her poll for her original nomination for Athlete of the Week. Definitely someone who can make a run in this tournament. And for those of you who may question the fact that Diana Connor is the 9 over Gianna Roberts the 8, and we're favoring Diana Connor a little bit, we did take one athlete from each sport and put them in the top 8.
Correct. So there was, out of at least the ones that have multiples, so like some of the ones didn't get exactly into the top 8, but for that particular seeding, that's why the seed was the way it was.
Yeah, for the men's side, we saw Tommy Bowen as the 9. Could have been an 8, but without a baseball player in the top 8, we figured get one in each sport in the top 8.
Hot off the presses today, it's Christina Gambino taking the 5 seed. She defeated women's lacrosse player Jessie Hell.
Jessie Hell definitely she definitely could have made it into this tournament very easily. Just got a bad matchup with Christina Gambino.
Haley Gayoski rounding out the 12-5 matchup there. And again, Gayoski has an opportunity to make an upset there, but I think I like Gambino in that one.
I do agree. She had a very good week, and she's had a very strong start to the season this year.
Over to Katie McFadden now in the 13th seed. Nicola Talon in there at the 4. Talon has the opportunity here to make a run to the semifinal round and maybe knock off Marissa Surtee. It'll be interesting to see how that one shakes itself out.
I will say, don't sleep on Diana Connor knocking off Marissa Surtee either. We might have a women's soccer Elite 8.
It's going to be really exciting to see how everything just shakes itself out. So now over to the second half of the women's bracket, taking a look at our 3 and 14 matchup. It's Grayson Staunton taking on women's basketball, Chelsea Urquhart. So Urquhart had some ups and downs, and she had a couple ups, obviously, to get herself an Athlete of the Week selection. But
yeah, and she was definitely a key cog for the women's basketball team off the bench. Really hitting the threes in some big spots for them, unfortunately unable to help them get a win, though, in conference play.
Looking at the 11-6 now, Elise Brubaker taking on women's lacrosse's Kira Baccio. Baccio has been an absolute animal on the lacrosse field. Just like we said, Marissa Surtee was an animal. Baccio has just been tearing it up, along with her teammate Jessie Held. And quite honestly, Jessie Held is probably on that last 4 in if we were to have an actual entry part into the tournament.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just it's for Jessie Held, it's upsetting because she is one of the better players on the women's lacrosse team here.
Absolutely.
And, maybe we play a full season, we get a couple more Athlete of the Week entries in, she finds her way into this tournament. Unfortunately for her, she just caught the short end of the stick.
It's back to the bottom half of the bracket now. It's women's soccer's Courtney Stanley, the netminder, taking on field hockey's Megan Kane. Obviously, I like Stanley in that matchup, but don't sleep on Kane either. And to finish out the bottom portion of this bracket, the 15-2 matchup is Juliet Betke and Michaela Oliverio. Oliverio had the top play on the ESPNW countdown, and the bicycle kick goal was just phenomenal.
Yeah, and
phenomenal.
I will say, Michaela Oliverio, this is Athlete of the Year. If we had Play of the Year, she has Play of the Year. That's on lock.
Yeah, So she really, really nailed it down. So that puts a wrap on our field. One more time, we're going to recap how it all happens.
Yeah, the 17 athletes in each bracket, only one will be crowned a champion. Luke, I can't wait to see how all this plays out.
It'll be interesting to see how many upsets there will end up being. So one more time, you can take a look at all that we have to offer here. A lot of coverage throughout this whole thing. And again, the Twitter account's on your screen now. And Ben, it's just going to be thrilling.
Yeah, it is. And again, all the voting will be conducted on Twitter via the Wilkes Beacon account. Be sure to check out all the various Twitter accounts on your screen for coverage, though.
Thanks for watching today's selection show. And be sure to make your vote count.